So we're going to do daily and weekly checks on our machine. When you come to your bike, two ways of looking at this is you can use either the word power or you can use the word bolt to remind you of what you should be looking at. I like the word power. Petrol, oil, water, electric and rubber. So what are we checking? Number one, have we got fuel? Best way to do it, take your key, open up the petrol tank and have a physical check inside. Get to know your machine. Get to know how many miles you get out of a tank full. Not every machine's got a reserve tank. Oil. These bikes are 4 strokes. So what you've got on this machine here, down at the bottom, is a little spyglass. Checking your oil on a weekly basis, take your bike into an upright position and you should see the oil level in the spyglass come to the top. I like to do this when the engine is cold and before I set off anywhere, and then I get a true reading of what oil I need. Now, there are 3 types of oil: semi-synthetic, fully synthetic and mineral. When you get your bike, make sure you know what's in your machine. If you're not sure, do a full oil check. Remember, semi-synthetic will go with mineral, mineral will go with nothing, and fully synthetic will go with semi-synthetic. W, now on this machine, she's water cooled. So we've got a radiator. So you need to be checking your radiator that she's got coolant in summer, antifreeze in winter. Not all bikes are water cooled, but you're still looking at fluid. Brake fluid, as you can see on here, we've got the brake wear reservoir. This machine has got disc brakes front and rear, so there's 2 of these. Some little bikes have drum brakes on the rear, so they'll only have 1. What you need to check is in this spyglass here on the handlebar that the level is full. Over a period of time, this level is going to drop. When it does, number 1, check for any leaks. If there are no leaks, you're checking your brake pads. Get new brake pads put in, and that way the fluid level will rise. The other thing to check under fluid is your battery. These are all electric start, no kickstart. So if you're starting to struggle on the battery, check your battery out, make sure all the cells are nicely full, and therefore your engine will start up nice and smoothly. E, electric, we're checking our lights. Are they clean? All the way around your bike, turn the ignition on. Indicators, are they working? Front and rear. Brakes, front and rear. If you're on your own, put your bike up against a wall and then you can see if this brake light is coming on. If it's not, get them replaced. R, rubber. What are we checking? We're checking the tyres. What are we checking on the tyres? We're checking that they have got sufficient pressure. Too much pressure, you're going to bounce like a little rubber ball and you're only running on the centre of your tyre. Too little, you're going to find the centre goes in and you're only running on the outside edges. You're going to slop and slide. It's going to affect your steering, your stability and your fuel usage. The other thing you need to check is minimum tread depth. 1 mil across 75% of your tyre. Why do we have tread? Disbursement of water, making sure the tyre cuts through the water and keeps your tyre in contact with the road. The other thing we're checking is for any cuts, bulges or defects. Is there any nails, any screws, anything in here? What I do, take the key and see if I find a nail or screw in there, has it gone in? If it hasn't, you can usually just use your key to prise it out. If it has gone in, you need to think, can I repair this? Do I need to take it to a garage? Don't take it out, because if you do, you're going to wind up with a flat tyre. Also, check your rims all the way around, making sure there are not any damage to the rims. We don't bump bikes up and down curbs, because if you damage your rims, it's going to affect your tyre and you'll wind up probably with a flat tyre. What power doesn't take into account also is chains. What do we do to a chain? We need to be checking the tension, okay? So that it keeps it moving fluidly, changing gears nice and smoothly. How do we do that? We've got chain tensioners at the back of the bike. we slacken off the axle bolt, and then we say it's a flat to a flat. So what you'll find is 2 nuts either side, turn one, just one flat, and the other, and then check to make sure the chain and the wheels are still in a straight line. And you do that until you've got the right tension for your machine. Once you've got the tension, we can tighten everything back up. We also need to be checking our sprockets front and rear, making sure they're pointed, not rounded off, otherwise your chain's not going to stay on those sprockets. This bike is disc at the back, so you don't need to worry about the brake cable, but if you've got a bike with a drum brake, you may need to slacken the drum off. And finally, the last thing to do with your chain is you need to oil it. Best time to oil it when you come back after a ride. Why? The chain is expanded, the oil can go in, your bike's going to sit in your garage, it will contract, ready for the next day. If you put it onto a cold chain, you might find more of it flies off and it's not doing any good to the chain to keep it nicely oiled and lubricated. Now, the other thing to remember, if you're back to biking and your bike's been laid up over winter, give the chain a good oil, check for any rust, check for all the linkages before you go out so that you're ready to ride, and check that everything is good working order. It's a good way of going around everything again and just checking that nothing has seized up or got damaged over the winter period when she's been sat in the garage. Mirrors. We need to set them up so we can see what's happening behind us, okay? We need to be checking things like brake cables, clutch cables, and suspension. We need to be making sure they're not frayed or worn, or if you've had a new cable fitted, that it's not been strung the wrong way, so we still have steering at the front. We also need to be checking our suspension, having a good look, making sure it's not leaking, because that's going to affect your stability. And what we have is we also have head bearings and wheel bearings, making sure that there's no notchiness, no oversteer on it, because if they collapse, they're going to bring you off. So all I'd say is little automatic, same checks, power, petrol, oil, water, electric and rubber, exactly the same. Difference with this is she's belt driven. So over a period of time, the belt will stretch. When she goes in for a service, get someone to check out the belt, make sure the rollers are still working, and make sure everything is in good working order. What I would say is, if you don't know, if it doesn't feel right, if you don't feel confident, don't try and fix it yourself. Take it to a qualified mechanic, get them to check it out for you.